Boruto episode 64 now. This episode was a very good episode. It really exceeded my expectations. What I really liked about it is that it was not like a rehash. They did include like a lot of new scenes. They did include a lot of scenes that we wanted to see. A lot of very interesting scenes. But the first thing I want to talk about in this episode, or the first thing I want to talk about in this review, is the fact that we got to see what Momoshiki said after he read Boruto's future, which was like very amazing. It was kind of the fact that Boruto held a very interesting fate. Now, we're not completely sure what that fate is. There's a whole bunch of stuff that Boruto has surrounding him. There's a whole bunch of stuff that Boruto is about to learn, and obviously Kawaki is in the forefront of all of that. Now, if you guys don't know, Momoshiki supposedly has the ability to read other people's futures, and in this episode he read Boruto's futures, and what he said after he read Boruto's future is that Boruto had a very interesting fate. Now, I'm not completely sure what Momoshiki's seen. I'm not completely sure what Momoshiki is thinking about when he said that, but there's something very interesting that we have to talk about in that statement, and one is the fact that Boruto is going to eventually need Naruto's help, and Naruto is not going to be there to provide it. As you guys know, he said it's a shame that you can't pass down your powers to the next generation, which is like something amazing. And this might further the theory of Naruto probably not being there when Boruto is older, when Boruto is in a lot of trouble, when Boruto is fighting a very strong foe. Maybe Kawaki, maybe an Otsutsuki member, maybe a Kata member. We have no idea, but Naruto will not be there to assist Boruto, which is why Momoshiki said like, hey, it's a shame that you guys can't pass your powers down to the next generation. And then right after that, Momoshiki actually did the almighty pull, and then he pulled Kinshiki to him, and then he absorbed all of his power, which obviously means that, hey, I can absorb my ancestors' powers, but you cannot absorb your ancestors' powers, which is going to be a shame because your fate is going to be very interesting. So this might further the theory that Naruto's gonna die. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, but we're gonna move on. Now I'm gonna move on to like the first scene. The first scene was obviously Mitsuki waking up in the bed. Mitsuki wanted to rush to Boruto's help because he didn't know what went on. The only thing that he really remembered was Momoshiki standing in front of Boruto, and Boruto just firing off a bunch of blasts from the scientific technology, and of course they did nothing to Momoshiki. So obviously Mitsuki's like kind of worried about his son. I'm talking about the sun in the sky, not the actual sun, but Mitsuki actually said like, hey, Boruto is my son, which is like very crazy because Boruto, or Mitsuki, never really said that before in the past, and he said that to Sarada as well, and then Sarada said, hey, I expected you to say something like that, which was like a very kind of cool scene. It was like a Team 7-ish scene. A lot of people were gonna like that kind of scene. I think it was a very good scene. It was a scene that was not added in the movie, and I think it was the scene that was very needed in the anime because it does show that camaraderie of the Team 7. Now, another scene that was very good is obviously the Shikadai scene. Shikadai actually walked up to Shikamaru and asked like, hey, should we send reinforcements? And you kind of get to see that Shikadai, you know, even though he feels like Boruto stabbed him in the back, Boruto really did something bad to him, Shikadai really still cares about Boruto. Shikadai cares about Boruto's safety, even though if that was me, I'd be like, yo, F Boruto, I hope he get beat up. Hopefully he gets trapped in that other dimension so my dad could become the Hokage or fight Kakashi for the Hokage spot. I have no idea. But Shikadai really cares about Boruto, and it really shows you guys the friendship of Boruto and Shikadai and how that will probably progress throughout the whole series of Boruto. And I really like how they showed that. Obviously, another scene that was not shown in the movie as well, another scene that was not shown in the manga, which is a very good sight to see. But moving on to the real stuff, we finally got some measurements about how weak Naruto was in this actual arc. Momoshiki did say that he absorbed over half of the chakra that Naruto had, which is like a very good estimate. I kind of assumed that as well. I kind of assumed that he absorbed about half the chakra, but it looks like he absorbed probably like 60% of the chakra, because after he said I reached the halfway point, he did again try to absorb some more. So I'm guessing Naruto's about 40% in this arc, and the same thing could be said about Sasuke, because Sasuke was using about a good 40% because of all the time space ninjutsu that he used, and he does have to use time space ninjutsu to get back out of that dimension. So it is very interesting. Another thing I have to note is that Naruto said like, hey, I'm gonna beat you and then I'm gonna go back home to my son, which tells me like, yo, Naruto is saying like he was gonna beat Momoshiki without the help of the 5 Kage and Sasuke and Boruto, which is like a very amazing feat. I don't think that Naruto would have been able to do it, because he didn't really know that Momoshiki could absorb a lot of chakra, things like that. And probably the time he'd have probably found out that he could absorb chakra, Momoshiki would have probably created a huge Rasengan and probably like almost destroyed Naruto. Naruto would have been like one hit and Kinshiki would be right in Momoshiki's back pocket. So I don't think that Naruto would have been able to do it, but the 5 Kage and Sasuke do show up alongside Boruto. Boruto and Naruto had a very emotional scene. I think it was a scene that we all needed in the movie. They kind of had a scene like this, but it was not as impactful as the one in the anime, and I really like how they're doing it. I really like how they're not quote-unquote rehashing it, but they're updating it, they're making it better, and I really like how they're doing that. And you got to see the emotion with Boruto when he found out that Naruto used to be just like him, where Naruto used to create a lot of mischief. Boruto does this a lot as well. Naruto said that he used used to go up on the Hokage statues and paint their faces and write idiot on it and things like that. And Boruto, it really resonated with him because again, he does the same thing. And now you get to see the transition between Boruto and not wanting to know Naruto's weaknesses, not how to beat Naruto and probably take over the Hokage spot, things like that. Obviously Boruto doesn't want to become the Hokage, but still you get to see Boruto trying to learn Naruto's backstory and how Naruto became this strong ninja. And of course Boruto's trying to figure out how to replicate that for himself so he himself can become a strong ninja, which is like very interesting to me and very cool. But this episode did provide a little bit of action, and in the action we got to see some very interesting scenes. One of the scenes that we did see is that Sasuke actually combined a Chidori with his sword attack with his Kenjutsu, which is like amazing. I don't think we've ever seen that before, or I don't think that we've ever seen Sasuke actually say it before. Obviously we've seen Sasuke infuse some lightning style into his sword, but calling it a Chidori, that pretty much takes it to a different step, because the Chidori in itself makes your arm a sword, and if you guys put that on a sword, it pretty much make that sword invincible, and it could just really cut through anything. And he pretty much hit Kinshiki with that, which is like the toughest blow that Kinshiki did take. And can I get some claps for the Tsuchi Kage? Like, oh my goodness, she really showed up in this one. The punch that she gave, it was almost like Rock Lee as the type of taijutsu that she had, and obviously she did create that lava style to keep Kinshiki in place, which was like very amazing. And obviously we seen Chojo, and Chojo said like, hey, if I die here, then Kagero would be the next Mizukage, which is like a very interesting thing. But right after that, that was the scene where Momoshiki read Boruto and Naruto's future. It said Boruto had a very interesting fate, and he was really sorry that Naruto couldn't pass his power on to the next generation. And that was right when Momoshiki absorbed Kinshiki, and that was pretty much the last scene. Now, one overarching question that we have about this: where is Urashiki Otsutsuki? We have no idea. He was not in the fight. Shigadai did talk about there being one other outsider that could possibly still be in the village, but where is Urashiki? I will most likely make a video about that later in the week. I'd say probably on Saturday. Make sure you guys keep an eye out for that. But tomorrow is going to be the preview for the next episode, and also the next episode might not be in the next week. And hold on, one thing, I want to aim for 200 likes in this video. Make sure you guys try to hit the like button. I've never really done this before, but I want to do it, see if you guys can do it. 200 likes, let me see if you guys can do it. But let me know what you guys think about this episode in the comment section below. As I said, I really liked it. It was a very good episode in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think. It's been your boy Baara, and we out.